Hey everybody, it's Party Elite here with a beginner's guide to Imperator Rome. This series will take a granular approach to the various aspects of the game in the hopes of helping wherever possible, with specific episodes dedicated to each topic. That being the case means I'm always welcome to suggestions in the comments below on topics to cover next. I have a few episodes already planned, and this first one might be a slightly longer one, all about understanding, using, and manipulating the information in the top bar. There is a lot of crucial information here, and it's absolutely worth dedicating an entire episode to. So without further ado, let's begin. The top bar in Imperator Rome, as in many strategy games, is full of vital information about various resources at your disposal, as well as certain critical elements that affect the smooth operation of your nation. Some are pretty self-explanatory, others are abstractions that need some explaining, and others still might make no sense unless you're familiar with paradox strategy games. First, we have wealth, one of the simpler concepts up here. This is your national treasury, and this is where money is deducted for everything that happens at a national level, be it recruiting troops, constructing buildings, maintaining mercenaries, etc., etc. It's also where the taxes go, where trade income goes, and where the spoils of war or tributes are added as well. You can see a small green plus or a red minus on this icon, which quickly lets you know if you're making or losing money every month. For more details, you can hover over this section to see exactly what caused your budget to fluctuate the way it did over the previous month, and that should give you some ideas as to what you might want to do to spend or make more money. While financial management is an in-depth topic for another time, there are a few key things I'd like to touch on today. First, money is most commonly made through tax and commerce. I say most commonly because there are other ways, such as having tributary states that pay you a monthly amount, or through other wartime activities. To see a more in-depth breakdown of where the money is coming from or going to, you'll want to check out the economy screen. Here you'll see the current month's projections for income, expenses, and the balance. You can adjust how much money you'd like to make or spend on each of the listed items by clicking on the corresponding stack of coins, from least on the left to most on the right. Each step has different pros and cons, and you should make your call depending on what you want to accomplish at the time. But I digress. If you hover over the numbers on this screen, you'll see a more granular breakdown of exactly what contributes to the income or expense at hand. This can help you make judgment calls, like where to assign governors that can pull more tax or commerce income, for example, or where a reduction in upkeep costs might help you most. To get even more granular, you can select any one of your cities and hover over the income section, and here you'll see every little bit that goes into the income and expenses from this particular part of your nation. This is a good way of learning what helps and what hurts. For example, it's quickly evident that slaves and tribesmen bring in money through tax, so it follows that having more of either would bring in more money. The same goes for unrest, laws, technologies, wages, and other game systems that influence these numbers. You can see it all listed here. You can also see this information in enemy cities, and that makes for an excellent way to plan your conquest if you're looking specifically for a financial boost rather than just a massive land grab. The next piece of information at the top bar shows your manpower, a crucial resource for any nation at war or at peace. This number represents how many recruitable individuals are available in your nation at any given time. Since units are recruited in 1,000-person increments as cohorts, you can quickly gauge just how many units you're able to recruit. 1,000 manpower is one unit of any type. This same pool of people are used to replenish fallen soldiers as well. Mid-war and post-war, when units have taken losses, they will pull from the currently available manpower to replenish over time. If you hover over the number, you can see some more detailed information, such as the maximum number, how much you're gaining every month, how much you're losing to attrition, and if any people are being used to replenish lost forces. If you look at a city by selecting it, you'll start to see where some of these numbers are coming from. The exact math isn't necessary to know, but I'm going to touch on it so you have an understanding. The crucial takeaway is that tribesmen and freemen contribute to manpower, with freemen contributing more than tribesmen. That means the more tribesmen and freemen you have in your nation, the bigger your manpower numbers are going to be. However, if you hover over their numbers in any given city, you'll be able to see exactly what their manpower contribution is and why it might be hampered and how it might be improved. That local manpower number that you see here is multiplied by 25 to give you the change to total manpower cap from the freemen and the tribesmen in this city. Add the total manpower cap from all of your cities, and you'll see it adds up to this number here, which is added to a fixed base number to give you your maximum manpower. The manpower recovery rate can be approximated by dividing the maximum by 300, because it takes 300 months, or 25 years, to reach maximum manpower from 0. Again, you can get this information about enemy cities as well if you want to plan your attacks with a specific objective in mind. The next things you see are somewhat connected. These are your Monarch Points, or Monarch Power, or Mana Points. Whatever you want to refer to them as, they are a form of currency expressing your military, civic, oratory, and religious standing, and they're extremely important for performing a variety of tasks. They increase at a base rate of 2 per month, but that is modified by a multitude of factors. Your current ruler and all characters besides have attributes that match the Monarch Points: martial, finesse, charisma, and zeal. These attributes are taken from the ruler, halved, rounded down, and added to the monthly gain of the respective Monarch Points. Apart from that, you'll also find certain technologies or decisions which also factor into the growth rate of these points, and you can also spend gold to buy points from your economy tab. As I mentioned, these points are extremely important as they can be used for a variety of things, though you'll find that they might sometimes stockpile. Military power is used to support rebels in foreign countries, to purchase military traditions that strengthen your warring capabilities, and to hold triumphs for your generals, a good way to ensure that they stay loyal. And it's likely that we're going to see more uses of military power added down the line as well. Civic power is used to research technologies, no matter what category they belong to, and it's used to move your people from province to province if necessary. Oratory power is probably the most used type. It is required to fabricate claims on enemy territories, which is a necessary step for war, and it's needed to send insults to or improve relations with foreign nations as well. It's used for relationships between characters too. Most character actions require oratory power to perform, and it can also be used to promote people from one class to the one above it, and it can be used to force people to assimilate, strengthening the cultural unity of your nation. And you also need to spend oratory power to change governor policies that help your nation at a regional level. It is also used to change laws, and you also need oratory power to select national ideas. And you might need to use oratory power to sway elections and more, depending on your government type. Basically, anything to do with political or national decisions are tied to oratory power. And finally, religious power is used to increase stability through a sacrifice to the gods, and it's also used to invoke omens, various nationwide buffs that help in different ways. You can also use religious power for certain character actions, making friends, executions, granting honors, and holding triumphs. They all require some religious power. Finally, religious power can be used to convert people to your religion, helping bolster religious unity across your nation. These are just another form of currency. Again, the bigger these numbers, the more things you can do right away. Keep an eye on them and make sure you use them as needed, especially oratory power. Next up is stability, an indicator of how stable your nation is. As this number increases, you will see subject states become more loyal, tax and research rates go higher, and the ruler becomes more popular. As it decreases, the exact opposites happen, and your nation can be thrown into chaos. A variety of events can cause stability to increase or, more often than not, drop. It's a good idea to keep stability high, and it's very easy to do. In the Religion tab, you just have to spend some religious power to perform a sacrifice to the gods. This will bump stability up by 1, but the higher stability also means a subsequent sacrifice will cost more religious power. Stability caps out at -3 and +3 on either end, but the effects can be quite big. Keep an eye on it, and feel free to use the often plentiful religious power if you need to give yourself a little stability bump. Aggressive expansion represents how other countries see you from a warmongering, conquering perspective. The higher this number, the more of a threat other nations see you as, and the more likely you are to see issues from within and without. Aggressive expansion will always trend towards 0 at a very slow rate by default. Various decisions you make can further speed up the reduction, and you might want to look into those when the options arise, because you might be seeing a lot of internal strife from people of different cultures, and you'll also see your subjects get upset. As the number gets higher and higher, you'll see more issues from a diplomatic perspective as well, and you might start seeing the inklings of a civil war, especially in your fringe territories where you might be having some trouble with wrong culture groups. Neighbors might join defensive leagues to protect themselves against you, and people won't take to you very kindly when you make diplomatic proposals. Aggressive expansion is gained through a few different means. Taking enemy territory during peace talks after a war will give you more aggressive expansion depending on just how much territory you're trying to take in one go. Going to war without a casus belli hits your stability and will also increase the rate at which aggressive expansion hits you when negotiating for peace. It's very easy to let aggressive expansion slip too high too quickly. Becoming back-to-back World War champions a couple times will definitely skyrocket this number, so you need to be cautious in how quickly you expand. Take your time. Rome wasn't built in a day. Tyranny is the last of the numbers we'll be tackling today, and it's an indicator of how your own people see you. Are you a benevolent and just ruler, or do you enforce your word as law, imprisoning detractors at the drop of a hat? Whether you gain it by forcing an issue against the wish of the Senate, by influencing the numbers in your Senate, by throwing people in jail and executing them, or by banishing characters from your realm, tyranny increases and your people start to think less of you as a ruler. While tyranny trends towards zero slowly, this can be sped up by making the right decisions, having a popular ruler, and by exporting marble. As the number gets higher, though, you'll see people of your own culture start to get unhappy, and your generals, admirals, and governors will start to lose loyalty. Slaves start to work harder, though, and the cost of imprisoning and executing people is reduced, almost as if to bait you into a cycle of maniacal tyranny. High tyranny is bad. Disloyal generals and admirals won't listen to your commands and might rebel against you, while disloyal governors might band together to create an independent nation through a civil war. Sometimes you have to push your way with a swift unlawful arrest, but people will start to notice, and you might soon find yourself without a nation to rule. The top bar in Imperator Rome hosts the resulting math of a lot of important aspects of the game. From wealth to people to the fear your own people have of you as their leader, it is very important to understand what these numbers mean, where they come from, and what they do, so that you know exactly why you should value one over the other. I hope this video gives you a clear understanding of what's going on in the top bar, and if you have any questions or thoughts of your own, feel free to drop them in the comments below. As always, I'm also looking for suggestions for topics, so if you have any, let me know down below as well. A massive thanks goes out to all of my channel members and patrons for supporting this channel on a monthly basis, and a massive thanks goes out to you for watching. Until next time, cheers.